don't talk about money or sex in America.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Drew from The Money Is Show, and today I got a special guest for you. Came all the way from Georgia, my hometown, and he's in the top 1% of real estate agents in America that are under the age of 25. So I know a lot of you guys watching are real estate agents. You have your license, maybe you're dabbling inside of it, or maybe you're a full-time agent. So I want to break down some stuff of how you can grow and expose that brokerage agency that you have, and also maybe tie that into real estate a little bit as well, or real estate investing a little bit as well. So you guys welcome Morgan Reed from Morgan Reed Realty. What's up, Morgan?
How's it going, man?
Glad you came on the show, bro.
Yeah.
It's a long flight for you.
Yeah.
Georgia to Utah, right?
Yes, sir. ATL to Salt Lake City.
Done many of
4
those.
hours.
Many of those flights, my friend.
Yeah.
It's like a nice working. When you fly, are you a movie guy or a work guy?
Work usually. So a lot of times it's a podcast that I've downloaded before, or a audio book or something. But
yeah, dude. I for whatever reason, I think it's because like I'm almost forced to like it shuts off so much other stuff outside the world that like plane rides are like my safe space of work, dude. Yeah, I like zone in and start cranking work out, man. Which is good because when you travel all the time, it's like a great freaking opportunity.
Absolutely.
So you came out here. So you are you under 25 right now or at 25?
Just turned 25.
Just turned 25.
Yep.
Real estate agent.
Yep.
Brokers. And you have your own brokerage up in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Yep.
Right, Kennesaw. And you're
just
the
west of Atlanta.
Top 1% of agents in the nation of production of selling. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about how you did it, kind of how you built that process out. But before we go down that path, back up a little bit for me. So the viewers watching, own businesses, listening, whatever it may be, tell me a little bit about your childhood. How did you grow up? Entrepreneur family, poor, rich? What was the childhood like when you grew up?
Yeah, pretty general childhood. I'd say we grew up in middle class.
Okay.
Not poor, not rich, so right in the middle there. Pretty generic. Grew up playing sports. Grew up nonstop doing stuff. Then to get started in the real estate world, I actually grew up with both my parents in real estate industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Both agents?
No. So mother was an agent.
Okay.
Father was actually a builder.
Okay.
So he was a production builder. That's how I was just always in the process.
Around you.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid.
At the dinner table, that's what we're talking about.
You talk about real estate.
Yeah.
So you probably grew up at dinner table seeing a lot of MLS contracts laying around all over the house, all the black and white fine print laying around everywhere. Your brothers, sisters?
One brother. One younger brother. Who's actually an agent on my brokerage.
Okay, so he works with you now?
Yep.
As an agent underneath your brokerage there. So you grew up what about college? They push you to go to college, want you to go to college?
So one thing that I love that my parents did with me is they have always enabled me. They never pushed anything on me. They kind of let me grow and do my own thing, think my own way. So they did not push college on me, but I went to college.
Okay.
Almost regrettably.
Yeah, what made you go?
This is what everybody does, man. Yeah. So I just grew up.
Kind of the normal routine of all your friends.
Exactly. Everybody's doing it. You graduate high school. That's what you do. That's the American way.
Did you graduate college?
I did.
So you finished the whole thing out. What did you get your degree in?
Business management degree.
Okay.
So just a generic business degree. And it was actually my senior year of college. I was in between semesters. Something clicked with me. I was like, I don't want to go use this degree I'm about to get in 3 months.
Yeah.
So went and did a rush real estate course, knocked it out in about 5 weeks, and that's when it kind of took off. Never have used my degree for like a job or anything like that.
So you've never, when you graduated, you never went and got a standard corporate job with anybody out there?
Nope.
When you graduated, you went straight into real estate brokerage agency?
Yep.
Okay. Give me the background here, because I know there's a little bit of cool background here about where before you got into real estate agency, I think probably while you were in college, you worked for called a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Maybe for lack of better words.
Local farmer's market, a lot of just produce in a cafe. They had a restaurant as well. Started off really, really small as think of like a gas station size.
Yep.
I was like one of the first employees there. So got really close with the owner, and that's where I really started to learn about small business, started to learn about money, started to learn about entrepreneurship, right? So got really close with her, was able to learn so much about business, and I was there for about 6 years.
Wow.
We worked hand in hand growing that thing to...
When you started, you think you could be there for 6 years? Or do you think it was just a side job, like a quick little make some cash?
16 years old.
When you started?
Yeah, 16 years old. I started as a produce boy, I guess what you call it, stock boy, offloading watermelons, hand by hand, 45 watermelons, just killing my lower back. But, so she, I guess, saw something in me, kind of made me her number two. And once we grew, she put me in situations where I had a lot of responsibility at a young age. So I'm, hiring people who are 10 years older than me, so it's an interesting dynamic there. But we grew that thing, and loved every second of working there. So that's where I really learned how to start a business, grow a business, that type of thing.
That's where like the itch of entrepreneurship kind of came from?
Yep.
I wonder if you, when I interview people, I like to try to figure out what was their motive or what drove them, push them into their industry. And I'm just looking back at thinking, I wonder if you had not had done that and got close to the small business owner and kind of saw behind the scenes of like, when you produce, you get, you have results in profitability when you produce. I wonder if you would have went straight into business out of college.
Absolutely not.
You don't think you would have?
Absolutely not. I'd be working.
Probably kept following the path of.
Yeah.
Because you kind of already did it, right? You went to high school and college just because everybody's going to college.
Just because.
And
I would have stayed in that wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have stayed there.
Who'd have thought that a freaking job at 16, at a farmer's market table, whatever it is, would have actually be the cause that drove you into business?
Yeah. Soup's very thankful about that.
Are you guys still friends today?
Absolutely.
Contact or anything?
Yeah, we're very close. We're both very busy. So she's an entrepreneur, obviously. So she's always trying to grow. She stays busy. I stay busy. So it's not as constant. But we spent 6 years together, literally 8 hours a day, every single day.
Yeah.
So we became very close. Built a really great relationship. And
would you call them a mentor of yours?
100%.
They would have been? Okay.
Yeah, her name was Susan. She 100% probably my biggest mentor up to date. Just because she instilled a work ethic in me that I hadn't seen before. I've never seen somebody work the way that she has. So I quickly realized that's how you get it done there, right? So, yeah.
It's unique, again, just always studying people and what makes them successful. And majority of the time, you find that normally somewhere somebody, unless they grew up in a wealthy home or the hyper business home, whatever, pretty much everybody has some sort of mentor. Whether they hired him as a mentor or mine was more like your style, where I was working for somebody, and the amount of stuff that I learned, like it was a 1 year kind of a internship almost that I did with somebody, but it's where I had like so much of my business growth come from. At the same time, a lot of times on that way, you're actually sacrificing a lot of your own time and money. Because I could have made a lot more money. I was a bit later in life. I could have made a lot more money at that time. But it's like, dude, I was willing to put the sacrifice in. Because I'm like, dude, the stuff that I'm getting about business,
the value,
I recognized it really quick.
And
said I would rather make less right now, but keep learning. And it was the same thing. I got really close, to the owner or whatever.
That was one of the hardest decisions I make, was to leave that company. Like I said, I was our number two for 5 years, and we had visions of, myself taking over the company. It's something we've talked about, and it was one of the hardest things I had to do, was say, hey, I love everything that has happened, but it's not my baby. It's not my thing. You've instilled something in me. I gotta go figure out. Yeah, it was tough. So at this point, we hired on. I don't know. We went from me and her to, I had 20 people under me. So then I'm getting in front of these people saying, "Hey guys, I'm leaving." Bawled like a baby.
Did you really? How old were you then? Like 21, 22?
22. Yeah, I think I was 22.
And how long of a notice did you give with her?
So I'd say it was about a 3-month process where she kind of knew I was leaving.
Right.
And
you guys worked out?
I did a lot of stuff, right? So I had taken a lot off of her plate, And with me leaving, she was going to have to figure out
Right,
where
how to
to
place.
delegate that. So
That's the other side of entrepreneurship that people always don't see.
right,
Is like you grow with somebody, right? And you invest, you've done it now as an owner, right? You invest all your time, not all your time, but a ton of time and energy and emotion into a person.
Yep.
And you have to if you're going to be successful at growing your business. And then sometimes, even though, like you say, you have these like plans together, sometimes you freaking lose that partner or mini-me that you created, and you got to freaking start all the way over again.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the sucky part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So one of the scariest things is when I left, I had no plan B. I had nothing lined up yet.
Yeah.
I didn't have a job yet. I still had that semester in college left. So once I left, that's when I went and got the real estate license.
Okay.
And that was the scariest part because a lot of people, they remembered my family was in real estate.
Right.
My mother and father crashed in 2008.
Okay.
Lost everything, absolutely everything. Never got back onto
So
their feet.
in 2008, you'd have been about how old? Do you remember? I'm trying to figure out like how much of the crash do you remember going through? How old were you?
2008, 25 now.
So you'd have been, you graduated in 13. So
13.
You'd have been,
14.
Yeah, 13 and 14
13,
years old.
14, yeah.
When they went through the crash.
Yeah.
And it losing all their financial being that they had.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to want me to talk about this, but I vividly remember our Christmases going from having gifts to, hey, here's a stocking full of candy.
Yeah.
Right? And that was surreal to me because I hadn't grown up that way, and they never really got back on their feet. So what was really scary for me is once I left the farmer's table, comfortable job that I could grow in. There was a future there. Went to, let me go get back into real estate where I've seen it absolutely crash and burn.
Right.
Let me do that.
That affected you, right? Affected your whole family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you go jump back in the fire.
Jump back in the fire and tell mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did they say?
So I told mom, hey, I'm starting to back up again. Like we're getting into real estate again, but I need you.
Yeah.
So she was very scared to get back into real estate. Hadn't sold anything 5-6 years.
Wow.
Completely off the grid when it comes to the real estate industry. So I'm about to graduate college. She's sitting here thinking I'm about to go get a business job, right? And I'm like, hey, we're getting back into this thing. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but I need you. And for the first 2 years in real estate business, she basically ran as my, much more than assistant, but she handled everything for me so that I could focus on growth. Yeah, my right hand. Got into it, got licensed, went 10 months without a deal.
You did?
Yep.
When you first got started?
Yep.
Wait, before you go to that, because that's an interesting story. I want to go back to that one. Go ahead to the crash for a second. A lot of time I crashed, right? And in 2008, I freaking lost everything. Kind of sounds like your parents, and ended up moving back with my family, like lost my house, lost everything.
Yeah.
And, but a lot of times in the defeats, failures, it happens in business nonstop, constantly. Even though maybe not always a crash to losing everything, like maybe you and your parents did, but failures come nonstop. What I want to know is, looking back now, you kind of lived through from the outside, if you will, at 13, 14.
Sure.
Seeing someone crash in entrepreneurship freaking horribly, right? Obviously you have memories there and so forth. I want to talk about what is it, what do you think a key factor of, while in the defeat, while in the failure, what do you think a key ingredient is of learning how to move forward and push through that? Because for whatever reason, you have some that crash in 08 that, like you said, it's like they couldn't move forward, like they couldn't do it
Get
again.
out of it.
Yeah, and you had others that did it and then were able to push through and even grow more. What do you think kind of a secret there is, from watching from the outside, if you will?
I would say self-improvement. I would say those who focus on not what's going on around them, but those who focus on themselves every single day, they are going to have confidence in themselves to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? If you are constantly improving yourself every single day, you can't control what's going to happen all the time in the outside world. But what you can control is what you can do every single day to get better.
Yeah.
So I think that the people that made it, to talk about the crash, the people that made it, is they had already built daily disciplines. They had already built a self-improvement mentality to where if something comes at them, they know they're going to be okay because they know what's in here. That's what I would attest to.
It's really, really a high-level thought there because just looking back in my own life and friends who crashed, made it, didn't make it, et cetera, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I think you hit the nail on the head on that one because for me, when I crashed, there's only like, at some point, it just kind of hit me like, dude, there's only so much that that world that crashed in the market, real estate market, Wall Street market, mortgage industry.
Yep.
It was like, dude, that had nothing to do with me. Like, I can't control what the Federal Reserve and FHA is doing with home loans and Chase Bank. Like, that is completely out of my control at this point. But what I could control is like what I did, right? And what steps I made and how I kept going or improving. And that's actually, go back to even what I was saying earlier, when I went and learned a ton about business and so forth, was after the crash. Because I was like, dude, I got to go learn more because I knew I was missing something. And that's when I went and like interned.
Yeah.
I made like millions and then $10 an hour. And it was because I solely was focused on trying to get better on myself. So dude, that was a great observation. I think it's so true.
Yeah, and I guess the example that I would give there of how I can see that happen is I haven't gone through a crash yet. Right. But when I got licensed, I went 10 months with nothing.
Yeah, let's go with that story.
I was scraping by.
Okay.
So I literally took the last little bit of my school loans. I remember this is a funny story. So my last semester, I didn't buy books for my classes. I put it into marketing for my business.
And it was a school loan?
It was a school loan.
Yeah.
School loan. So I put the money into the business to try and get that thing going. I didn't put it in the right place. That's why I didn't have anything. But I went 10 months and I knew other people that were in the business and I could see them succeeding. I could see them getting stuff done. I'm like, yeah, it was very easy to get discouraged and want to get out.
Sure.
I went on an interview. So this is about month 6 into that 10-month hiatus. I went on an interview for a typical business job, right? Midway through the interview, I had my initial interview. They were like, hey man, we like you. We think we're going to bring you on. 30 minutes later, they wanted me to talk to somebody else. Okay. So I'm sitting there waiting for about 15 minutes in the waiting room to talk to that next person. And I'm just like, something just was driving inside of me. I got up and walked out. Just walked out. And I had nothing. I had $0. I needed that job. But just, I knew what I had inside of me. I knew that it was just going to take something to click if I just keep going. So that was a funny story. I got up, walked out.
Yeah, it's true. It's so much in life, because in business, because everybody's different where they're at in stages of life. But I always talk about in business, when you're starting a business, you're getting into business, dude, you either got to be all in. Yep. Because business is hard enough as is. Like, even if you are 100% committed and all in, it's still freaking super hard. Those that, in my view, just interviewing people and being in business, those that try to put like one foot in at a time to like test it and see like, oh, is this gonna work? Bro, it's never gonna work. Yep. Because it takes so much to be successful in business. And I think it's another one of those things where people are just, I'll maybe justify and give everybody a way out and say they can't, or probably realistically is they just won't make the sacrifice of like, you know what, screw it, dude. I'm bouncing at this interview and I need a paycheck because I need to eat right now. Yeah. And to do it though, but like it goes back to like what you say is like when you're all in on something is when you'll find that growth and the business will start eventually breaking through. Yeah, that's huge. One of the things that's just resonated with me there, I'm big on quotes. Okay. I love reading quotes. I love constantly seeing them every single day. So one of the things I like to do is write down a quote every single morning. Okay. One of my favorites is sacrifice today so you don't have to compromise tomorrow. Uh-huh. Right? So every single day, sacrifice today, sacrifice something so you don't have to compromise 10 years from now. Right. So yeah, that's something I was able to do. I started making money in real estate, right? Tell me about your first deal. So you went 10 months with no transactions. Yep. And sooner or later, it breaks through. You get your first transaction. First transaction was a random. I don't even know how this guy found me. He wanted to buy some lots, some land lots. Okay. He bought 2 lots for $20,000.
I don't remember what I made on that. I think it was $2,000.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been much.
Change. I was so excited. Dude.
Yeah.
Walked in that closing table like I was the
Like
boss.
a baller.
Yeah, man. It was really, really cool. But that was the first one. Once the next transaction, the real one was, I believe somebody came through on a social media ad that we were running, and they had already had a house in mind. We went out, showed them, got that first one done, and then something clicked with me on the first one. So up until then, my ads and stuff, it was, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. Use me. I can help you. Once I figured out on that first deal, that person didn't call me because I was a real estate agent. That person called me because of a house, right? So then I started really diving into, how do I get good at marketing? How do I get good at getting people to raise their hand and say, I'm looking to make a move from now until 12 months from now. Once I figured that out, it's a game changer, right? So we went from $0 the first 10 months to doing like 250 GCI in like 8 months, right? So at my second year in real estate. So something clicked with me, and I started marketing to clients. I learned my clients, figured out what are they looking for, and then started giving them what they were looking for. And then that's when it kind of transitioned.
I got two questions for you.
Yep.
One would be, when you're at ground zero still in the first 10 months, and you're still putting money in marketing, right? Facebook ads, whatever it is. My question is, where did you get the money from? Credit cards, loans, borrowed it, stole it?
So
how'd you get it?
So I said I used some of my loans until then. Up until then, I did use, I think, one credit card. I'm happy to say we do not have debt on the company today. So that's one of the things I'm proud of, because I see a lot of people, they'll put up $40,000, go straight into debt, and it's so hard to just eclipse that mountain once you're constantly having to do that. So I attest Nicole to that, my mother. So she's basically my CFO. She wouldn't let me do it, right? I'd be the type of person, hey, let's spend it here. We need to go. We need more leads. We need more people. She was very good at allowing me to have that vision, have that mentality, but this is the way we probably need to go so we can continue to be successful, right? Because there's going to be times in real estate, you're going to have better months than others, right? So for me, it was, I'm all in. I wanted to spend. She was very good at having a little bit more of that conservative mindset when it came to the finances, I guess.
So you're spending a little bit, student loan, credit card at the very beginning on these Facebook ads. And your second point there was moving into, you picked up quick on your, let's call it your first or second deal, whatever you want to say there, not the lot one, that the person that called you cared less about you, in theory.
100%, yeah. Didn't even know who I was.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with you that attracted them into buying a house.
Yeah.
Which is a deeper conversation, because most real estate agents that are out there constantly are marketing themselves, basically.
Yep.
Right? Kind of, this is a jab at it, but it's like most of them have immediately get their license, and step 2 is a profile picture on their business card. And I love the ones that are from 22 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Those are the classic ones that I freaking love.
Yeah.
But most real estate agents are marketing themselves
100%.
On Facebook and everywhere else. When you picked up on they didn't buy the house from you, they bought the house because the house was the house.
Yep.
That's when you shifted.
100%. Yeah.
What did you shift to at that point?
So that's when I really started studying marketing and figuring out who my client was. So that's when it just clicked. It was just a thought, hey, they called me on the house, not because of me. So why am all my ads up until that point were, hey, Morgan Reed's a real estate agent, use him, man, he's an awesome young guy, he's gonna help you out.
Right.
Then once I had that moment click, it started to, I just had to start testing. I had to figure out, what are people gonna raise their hand on? So the reason why I got into that is, what is there not a lot of out there in my marketplace? So I studied my clients, studied my marketplace, and I figured out whatever is in little supply, that's what I would try to push on to people.
Okay.
Because they're looking for it, right? I would give them everything that I could, but to get them to say, hey, we're looking to buy or sell soon, I had to give them something that they wanted first. So I think a lot of people try to take from clients first. So give me your info. We're trying to give what the client wants first. You want the house? You want photos of the house? Sure. You want more information on the house? There you go. Now in return, we're going to start this relationship, right? So then once we've given them something, they feel better about the person they're talking to rather than somebody saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent. You looking to buy or sell today? So it was just a simple transition, but now my business is I'm trying to train agents, right? I'm trying to bring on agents and show them and train them on what I feel like can make them successful. And so the number one thing I do is, hey, if you were to market to somebody, what would you say? What would you do?
It reminds me a lot, when you're telling that example there, it reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you've ever heard the concept between inbound marketing and outbound marketing. You ever study those two things right there? It's what you
Probably
did.
the concept.
Yeah, you did it. I don't know, but majority of everybody, especially let's say agents, use what's called outbound marketing.
Yep.
And outbound marketing is where you're just interrupting someone's day. You're just trying to get in front of them, which is like what you were originally doing, where you're just trying to interrupt their day on, let's say, social media with, hey, Morgan Reed does real estate, super cool guy, use Morgan Reed, right?
Yeah.
You're just trying to interrupt their day basically on outbound marketing.
Yep.
Inbound marketing is where you provide relevant information to the customer and then allow the customer to make a decision.
Exactly.
Which is what kind of, it sounded like what you shifted to, which is like, okay, my customer does not care about me. I mean, in the sense of, they're not.
Up front, they don't.
Yeah, up front. They're not going to say, oh my God, it's Morgan, well then I should buy this house from him. What they're really concerned about is that house. And so you provided them relevant information, which is exactly what they're actually looking for.
Yeah.
And then as you're the source of relevant information in inbound marketing, they naturally, it kind of puts you as the authority in their life in that topic.
Yep.
For whatever they're looking for, right? So then when they want it, they obviously would always go to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the inbound marketing versus outbound marketing. I don't know if you know you did it, but that's what you did.
Yeah, I didn't know the terms, I guess,
Yeah.
but that's exactly what we did.
So you started pushing what they wanted, if you will, houses, pictures, demographics, whatever it was, to them, and that's what drove in all the leads for you.
Yeah. Yep.
When you talk about marketing, just as a general, for maybe the people listening, do you have a monthly maybe budget right now that you use on Facebook or social media?
Yeah.
Spin-wise?
So total, once just social media or total lead gen?
Yeah, dude,
lead gen. We're probably spending, I'd say I'm spending about $5,000 to $7,000 a month.
A month on lead gen for your agents?
Yeah.
Is most of it on social media right now?
Yep.
That's where most of it's driving from right now?
I'd say 80% of it
is social media.
Social media.
If you break it down even one more step, is it social media in general, or is it a hyper focus on one of the platforms?
My biggest income producer has been Facebook and or Instagram, because they can join together, so they just push out the ads the same way. But yeah, Facebook changes all the time.
Yeah, the algorithm
they change every single month, right?
Yeah.
But the simple concept of the amount of people that you can get that to is a lot better on Facebook, I've seen. So another thing that Facebook that I got really good at is figuring out how to figure out that audience.
Yeah.
So once I made that click in my brain of, hey, I need to figure out who my client is, then I studied social media marketing. I got deep into it to figure out if I have this ad that I know that they're going to want this house, what's the best way to use Facebook to get that in front of people? Right. So that's when I started to dive into learning about Facebook, right? Learned about the coding, learned about how to do detailed targeting, all that type of stuff that shockingly goes over like a lot of people in real estate's heads, and it's not hard. You just got to take a little bit of time and learn it. Once I figured out those two, Facebook has been a very good income producer for us at a low cost.
I know that, obviously, I know you're in the top 1% right now. I'm gonna let's back up for a second and maybe get some opinion or advice here. If someone was wanting to know how to start or own a brokerage, right? So they're watching right now and they're like, man, how do I start a real estate brokerage? What advice would you give them on how to do that?
So The first thing is it depends on what you want that brokerage to do. If you're wanting that brokerage to service as many agents and help as many people as possible, I think you need to, one, already have figured out how to do business. You need to have an overflow of business, in my opinion, to start a brokerage. Okay, so I ran a team for 2 years, a small team, 3 to 4 people. And once I figured out I had an overflow and figured out I had something, that's when I was like, hey, I need to start my own company to train other people.
Overflow of lead gen and deals coming in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Lead gen, exactly. So once I figured that out, I needed more agents to service those people. So I think to answer your question, you have to have an overflow of business, right? And then the other thing that it's a little bit deeper level is self-improvement for me is huge. So I went into it, I've never owned a company before. I've never started a real estate brokerage. I had a lot of people tell me I wasn't gonna be able to do it.
Sure.
But I knew the daily disciplines that I was doing. I knew what I was learning on a daily basis. I knew how much I put into myself to say, okay, I'm gonna go start this because I know if I'm putting this much into myself, I can push that into other people. So if you're gonna start a brokerage, I think your mindset has to be you're doing it to help others, not yourself.
Those are 2 takeaways, right? Of how to start, if you're gonna start a brokerage, how to do it. Number 1 would be get the overflow of business coming in.
Yeah.
And you said you had 3 or 4 on your team, which means it wasn't just you. You had already grown to the point of having assistants and escrow coordinators or whatever it was. Help produce, increase production already for you. Then you still had more overflow, which led you into the agency side. And then number 2 would be constantly focused on developing yourself, self-disciplines first. And then push that through the entire company. You know, listening to you, I mean, the one thing that's unique is a lot of times when you hear real estate agents, and this is not a dig on the industry, but and this has probably been any industry that's out there, but it seems like nowadays, like freaking everybody's a real estate agent.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like everybody and their brother, every family has an uncle, a cousin, somebody that's an agent. And it seems like, and this is the same way, like I'm in the investing side of it, and there's a lot of similarities in how that works on that side, but it seems like most, and you listen to you talk here, I think the thing that stands out the most to me right now is yours so far has not really been about sales as an agent. Yours is really focused on the business side and the business development side of real estate versus most real estate agents are looking to get those 2 or 3 deals a year and how do I close this next house and this transaction. And everything you've talked about so far has been about development, business like development, right? Yeah.
So yeah, to touch on that, I talked a lot about self-improvement, but one of the things that I started doing when I actually started having deals is I took all of that money, put it back into the business, and then I also put it back into myself. So I started into a big coaching program. I was with 1,000 agents across the nation that have been successful. One of the things that I saw is there's been people that have been in the industry as an agent 15, 20 years, and I'm sitting here in this room like, these guys have been doing this for 15, 20 years, and they're still here. Why? Why is that? So I started studying that a little bit, started studying the people that were up top. What I figured out is the people that were on the lower end were strictly referral business, right? So they hadn't figured out how to generate business from strangers, okay? The people who went to the top, majority of their business are from strangers, because referrals are going to come, right? So we bring on agents and I tell them a lot of times they'll get caught up on trying to market to people they already know. If you market what people want, the people that already know you are going to use you.
Naturally, yeah.
Right? So focus on generating business from strangers. Get people who don't know you. If you can do that, you're going to be able to double, triple, quadruple your business.
Yeah, it kind of seems like, again, just as the world and culture develops, life develops, referrals for real estate agents was obviously like the main source for freaking 30 years probably, right? Was referral based. But it definitely seems like as more and more people and family members become an agent, referrals is for sure going to go down because there's more agents now than there were 30 years ago. And for a lot of times people will just naturally go use their family in a situation, right? Like that, which is going to kill the referral game. And on your point, it's like, dude, if you just go get focused on getting new clientele, naturally your family and friends or whatever will see it as well and take part in it. but you're getting the benefit of getting all the new clientele. And in your example, you were saying that those who went and created lead gen, even in the top, let's say 1,000 in this group, it was still you studying and saying, yeah, but these up here are lead gens.
Yeah.
These, even though they're still top, were referral based.
Yep.
It seems like that's going to be a dying kind of, it won't ever go away because referrals are massive in any business, but it seems
Sure.
like in the agency world, that would kind of be a dying breed right there.
100%.
Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're in your first 5 years of business, right? So if you think about it, you don't have a lot of referrals to begin with.
Yeah, it could be a huge snowball to get it going down the hill.
Super tough, right? If you're just based on succeeding through the people that already know you,
Yeah,
it's going to take you 5 years to get to a point where it's substantial to where you can grow.
where you can refer, yeah.
Yeah, so now we're getting to a point where, like I said, 80% of our business is strangers,
Lead gen,
right?
yeah.
So now that we're starting to have referrals come in too, it's just like, oh, forgot about Johnny. He's back in the picture now too. They're
Right.
going to come, and it's just going to snowball effect.
Yeah, but that lead gen is what's driving
Lead gen's huge.
everything inside of it. When you talk about obviously being in the top 1% of an agent right now for under 25, those that are kind of getting in the business, right? Like people that are like, dude, I got my license right now. I'm having a problem doing my first deal or whatever it is. Like, what kind of advice would you give that person right now that wants to be an agent, has their license, maybe hasn't done their first deal yet? What kind of advice would you give them now, looking back?
One of the things that I wish I would have done right when I started was earn while I learn.
Earn while you learn.
While you learn.
Okay.
So I see a lot of times agents come in, they're incredibly timid about how to write a contract. How do I go show a person a house? How do I do an appointment? Figure that stuff out. You're going to figure that on your own, right?
Okay.
It's going to take a couple of deals, a couple of clients to figure that stuff out. I would say jump in on getting people raising their hand. Jump in on marketing. Jump in on how to get people to raise their hand, how to lead gen. If you can focus on that first and figure out the how to do the transaction later, you're going to be a lot more successful.
Do you see a lot
quicker.
of agents that are coming in that are hyper focused on how do I fill out this piece of paper, basically, this contract?
Small stuff.
And they're hyper like overwhelmed with, I don't know what to put where in this contract. Because you need to think about real estate agent school, from what I've gathered from being in this industry.
Same as any school.
Is pretty much pointless when it comes to the actual day-to-day, how it actually works.
Right.
It's a bunch of random jargon and how big is an acre and so forth, versus like how do you fill out a contract and how do you make this transaction, the closing side of it and so forth. And what you're saying is a lot of agents are hyper focused on that piece. And
So
it's like,
focused.
dude, you're gonna learn that by going to closing.
Yep.
But you're never gonna go to closing if you don't go do a deal and get lead gen first.
Exactly.
And they're focused on something that's not even gonna make them money, basically.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Going to
So-
a closing.
Yeah. So it's funny. Like we'll deal with some agents that come in and they want to figure out how to call people. And I'll say, who are you going to call? And then they're blank. They don't know because they haven't figured out the lead gen part. So what we're doing with our company is we're kind of taking care of the lead gen part so that they can focus on what they want to do.
As you're taking care as like the broker.
As the broker,
lead gens
as the
coming in.
broker, we're going to fulfill you with leads, right? We're going to teach you how to close those leads so that you can focus on more so the how, right?
Yeah.
The how to handle clients, the how to get a transaction done, get it to the closing table. So that's what I've really realized. But if you're starting out on your own and you don't have a brokerage that has that value,
Right.
because the majority of them don't, I'm not trying to bash them, but a lot of them say, hey, if you have a pulse and you have a real estate license, come on board. Come on board.
Right.
We've turned down a lot of agents just because we want them to be successful in order for us to be successful. So a lot of brokerages, big brokerages, don't think that way, and they don't have to. So that the value is in getting clients, getting people to raise their hand, lead gen. That's where the value is. The rest of the stuff is going to come.
Tell me about in today's market, in the brokerage world, you have a lot of let's call them discount brokerages.
Yeah.
That are popping up freaking everywhere that you see right now, right?
Yep.
And I've seen them as low as like $500. I'll sell your house or list your house for $500 or whatever it is, right? How does that kind of affect your model or your business when you have brokerages that are constantly going with the low ball financial side of it?
So to be very blunt, if they're not my competition. I don't want to compete with somebody who brings zero value to their agents. So if I have an agent that comes on board, or that we're talking about coming on board, and they say XYZ Realty down the road is going to only charge me basically 100% free commission. I'm like, okay, so let's say you're 6 months down the road, you have 100% commission, you can keep it all, but you have 0 deals.
Okay.
What's better, having 0 deals or learning the values of how to create business, generate business, and paying a little bit more to have the value? So I'm not trying to compete with those types of brokerages, simply because if I was, then that would mean I would have to not bring as much value, and that's not what I'm in the business.
It's interesting that is very intelligent that you don't even look at them as competition.
I don't.
Dude, we're so far apart that we're not actually doing the same thing. So it's like saying, I don't know.
We have different strategies.
Ruth Chris and McDonald's. Like, yeah, they're both food, but they're like complete opposites of each other, right?
Yeah.
Same industry, but not really competing against the same customer base, if you will.
Yeah.
Inside of it there. I'll tell you about Zillow.
Yep.
And all the stuff that Zillow is doing. And I was having this conversation yesterday with somebody about Zillow exploded in value. Basically because they started getting the leads to these agents, and agents are paying like through the roof for these leads coming in from Zillow.
Yep.
And Zillow was basically just a platform that, like, hey, here's this property.
Yeah.
Right? And an internet buyer that doesn't have an agent yet, or sometimes even talking to an agent, and then they see this house they like, and it shows someone's picture kind of below it. And your natural assumption is this person must be listing the house.
Right.
And it's not actually true at all.
No.
That person is literally just paying for that space right there.
That's exactly what's going on. So that's one of the things that has bothered me. I've never paid a dime to Zillow.
Okay.
Right. And that's where a lot of agents go, just because it's easy. Right. They don't. It's a shortcut to get leads to call you. What I figured out was, if Zillow is a brilliant marketer. Okay, so what is Zillow doing to get all these people? They're giving them homes, right? They're giving people homes, and they figured out, obviously through SEO ranking and stuff, they've just got so much data now that they're able to use that data to get agents to pay. So what bothers me is agents, let's say you have a listing. I have a listing as an agent. We put it on the MLS. Zillow takes that listing. They put it out there to the public. All those hundreds of leads that could have been contacting us about that listing is getting sent to another agent. So in a sense,
hijacked it basically.
In a sense, we're cannibalizing ourselves as agents, because we're paying a marketing company to promote your own listings to give your leads to other agents. Right? It's tough. So what we try to do is when we get a listing, the listing is going to sell. So a lot of agents get a listing and their primary focus is on selling that house.
Okay.
If you have enough people contacting you about buying or selling, your listing is going to sell, period. So what we try to do is, before we go to market, we'll take a listing for 2 weeks, market it ourselves, just like a Zillow would.
Okay.
We're pushing it out there. We're trying to capture as many leads as we can. And then how our seller benefits is, at the end of the 2 weeks when we're ready for market, we may have 10 people already pre-approved to buy their home. And for how our agents get value out of that is that those are hot, warm leads that are looking for houses now that would have been given to another marketing company like a Zillow to then just give to another agent.
Yeah, smart, dude. It's like, you kind of hijacked it back from Zillow on those first 2 weeks, and you're creating a ton of value for your agents, with not even if someone buys a house or not, but at least you just hit your data again, if you will, and reconnected with 5, 6, 7 warmer leads that they can start working down the road of seeing where they're at in that process. It almost reminded me of old school open houses. Yeah. Because a lot of times in open houses, my opinion, being that I never ran open houses, but I hosted many of them with all my deals, was that the open house ended up being more for the agent than it was for me selling my property. like when I first started, I was like, oh my God, did we sell the property at this open house? And it was like, no, like we almost never did.
Yeah.
But that agent got all the neighbors and whoever was interested. Sometimes they're just nosy people or whatever, right? But they were actually cultivating their leads kind of with my property right there.
I do a unique thing for open houses, if I can jump on that real quick. Typical open house, hey, we're gonna put it on the market. Sunday we're gonna be open from 2 to 5, come by, please come by. Very passive. What we try to do is we start marketing for a week, pushing it out there everywhere to where it gets syndicated to all these sites. Nobody's allowed in until Sunday, 2 to 3. Get there one time. What this allows our sellers is you get everybody there at once. There's this sense of, this is an awesome house. Oh my God, I can't miss out on this deal. For my agents, they go host the open house. We had one a couple weeks ago, got the cops called on me because we had over 60 cars lined up to get to the open house, and it blocked the entire neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? So we have 60 vehicles lined up. Neighbors are pissed off, that type of thing. They call the cops. Our seller got $25,000 over asking price with contingencies in place that's going to net her a lot more money. Our agents got 100 people that they can now call that are warm leads of buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
Traditional open house, it would have probably already been gone, sold for a lot less money in the second or third person that saw it.
Yeah.
So it's just a different way of thinking. And to touch on this, just reminding me back your question about what do you want to do when you get started in real estate? What's a good way to think? Take a look at what the majority's doing out there and do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Do something where the 20% is doing it, not the 80%.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get caught in the competition. We got thousands of agents in Atlanta, and they're getting caught because they're just doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, it's funny just listening to you because I think both of us are more marketers.
Yeah.
And I'll use the word salesman in the sense of those are the two things that I probably do the most, just in just my general life, right? And it made me, when you're talking about it, it made me think of when I was flipping just tons and tons of houses, and my agent would just do the same thing, like freaking put an open house, put a sign in the yard,
Sit back,
and whatever, 8-9 people would show up, and it was like no value. And finally, I'm like, no, dude, look, how do you sell something? Is you got to create urgency and a sense of priority, and if you create that sense of urgency and everybody wants it, you're naturally going to sell something more.
Yep.
And so we did the same thing. I did it, I wasn't the agent, but I went to the agent and said, dude, you're going to go market this property. We're going to put it in the market. We're going to perfect it, the house, and then create all this energy, but not let everybody in until a certain time, and do the same thing, dude. And it was like, and all of a sudden, whatever people showed up, right? 30, 40 people showed up, and immediately the house would be sold. Like one of those people was going to buy that property because there was too much energy happening in the house, where again, most open houses is like dead.
Yeah.
It's like a library, dude. Nothing's happening, nothing's going on. Why would someone buy a house in that environment? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. We now have agents locally where if they see that I'm having an open house, there's another listing in the neighborhood, they're automatically having an open house as well because they want some of that traffic that's coming in.
Not a bad idea.
For them, yeah.
Second
why not?
fiddler, I guess.
Sure, that's fine.
But yeah, it's cool. So I think, again, the cool takeaway, dude, is I think your expertise is actually probably not real estate agent. Your expertise is probably marketing.
There's so many better real estate agents out there than
probably what you are. But you understand a different side of it that they don't understand, which is where you created this top 1% quickly in your industry. Again, this is not a dig, but I would guarantee you there's probably better actual agents in Georgia than you.
There is.
As far as like, let me show you this house, let me walk you through this, whatever it is, right?
I have 3 agents that are better than me in our brokerage.
In your own brokerage.
Yeah.
But as far as understanding how the actual business stuff works, dude, I think it's where you're crushing it at. Let me ask you this question. We've talked a little bit about it already, but I want to go back and just give me some bullet points here. If someone's listening right now, how would you tell someone, how would they use social media as a real estate agent to produce lead gen? We've talked about it in general, but what are maybe some takeaways you could give them on how to use social media as a lead gen?
Yeah, so 2 things, very simple. 1, I would figure out what your client is looking for. Okay. They're not looking for an agent. They're
Right,
looking
right.
for homes. They're looking for deals. Figure that out. Push that into your marketing.
Okay.
Number two, in your marketing, make them an offer.
Make them an offer.
Make the client, make the lead an offer.
Okay.
Okay. Give them something.
Yeah, give me an example here.
So, in our market, ranch properties, one-level homes have the supply is diminished. There's
Okay.
not a lot of them.
Okay.
So they're in high demand. We do a lot of ads based around ranch-style homes.
Okay.
Okay. So lead comes in. That's what they're looking for. So
Okay.
awesome. We want a ranch-style home. We give them exclusive ranch-style properties.
Okay.
We just make a bulk list for them. Sometimes it's what's on the market, some it's off market. So we're saying, hey, here's ranch style properties. They click. Offer is, if you click, you're going to get a list of properties on off market straight to you, exclusive properties to you. And then you have to do a little bit of work to find some of those
That
properties.
are ranch.
Yeah, that are
Okay.
one-level homes. Okay, that's fulfilling them. Once they get that, once they're fulfilled, it's okay. Now that barrier that's between real estate agent and client is a lot easier to get over because you've already made them happy. You've already given them something. So now that relationship's a lot easier to build upon.
Yeah. Yeah, that is straight inbound marketing, bro.
Yeah.
Because in inbound marketing, once you provide the content, education, relevant information to the client, and they're using it, literally that client will be, I'll use the word addicted to you. Because again, you're creating yourself as the authoritative position on ranch style homes, which you know that's what they wanted. And then once you're the source of what they want, they will always go back to you because you're literally the person that has what they want.
Exactly.
And that's in anything in marketing, right? It doesn't matter. It's not just in real estate houses. It's anything in marketing. When you become the authoritative position, your clients will always stay with you.
Yep. It's huge. So a lot of agents, they get in the real estate world, and one of the things they're taught is differentiate yourself.
Right.
Nobody knows how to do that.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Especially a real estate agent.
Yeah, so as a client who just got fulfilled all of those things, that's how you differentiate yourself, is give the clients what they want, and then now they're gonna have that in their mind. So when they see 3 other posts that same day of, hey, my name's John Smith, I'm a real estate agent, will you please use me? They're gonna look at that guy and look at me and be like, oh, that's the expert, right? That's the guy that I want to help me and my family buy and sell.
Talk to me about, you mentioned something earlier to me about kind of an app that you're using, building out, that produces what the agent should do during the marketing side or maybe follow-up side of the deal. Just give me a high level, what are you doing with that?
Real quick, what I've seen is once I figured out the lead gen, I had to figure out how to stay in touch with these people. So I build up follow-up systems depending on where that lead is in their sales cycle. Okay, so I partnered up with a really good CRM and website and app that once I figured out the plans, got the lead gen down. Now we got to figure out follow-up, how to stay in touch with these people. Once a lead comes into our system, we stay in touch with them for 365 days. We have a concierge that will contact a lead as soon as they come in. So my agent has somebody else calling on their behalf to that lead, because speed to lead's huge, especially in our world in real estate. So we have that up into 365 days. What my agents have is they get this app on their phone. They wake up every single day and they got 15 to-dos to go and do.
That the app produces?
That the app produces
the to-dos?
Based on the follow-up plan that is associated with the lead.
When you say 15 to-dos, if I'm understanding it right, you might have that client, the agent, might have 15 people in their pipeline that you produce through a lead gen source. That now is, let's say, in this app. And depending on where those 15 people are, buyers or sellers, in the journey of wanting to buy a house or list their property, right? The app is then prompting a to-do for this agent. On this one you have to do this, on this one you need to do this, so forth. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, exactly. So we have somebody comes in that says, hey, I'm looking to buy within 2 months. They get categorized as
into a bucket, basically, right?
Into a bucket. Based on that bucket, follow-up plan starts. In that bucket, if they're ready now buyer, you got something every single day. One day it might be call the lead to figure out if anything's changed with their whatever. Next day might be send the lead one property that's really going to wow them. Next day maybe send the lead a selfie video talking about a new development in the area. Right? Just some sort of value you're going to get to that person every single day. So as an agent, you don't have to think about anything. You wake up, you look at your to-dos. Okay, I need to do that today. Click. Take 2 seconds to send your lead something, and then you're right back in the top of their mind.
Right.
Okay, so that happens for a year.
Yeah, because most of the time I think I would say in the real estate agent world, it would probably flow more of where this person contacted but wasn't ready right now to buy, and then the agent, if they follow up in a month from now on a random text message, 41 days later.
Yep.
Like, hey, I just want to touch base with you. And at that point, as a customer, I am so far removed from you. 41 days later, like it's almost creepy that you actually text message me.
As a customer, you're already working with me.
Yeah, I'm already gone.
Yeah, you're already gone because I've hit you 15 times in that time of value. Not just saying, hey, have you made a decision yet? Are you ready to go yet?
That's most follow up right there, right? Is like, hey, are you ready to sell yet?
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's zero sales skills.
Dude, I'll call you when I'm ready to sell. You almost offend the customer. Or piss the customer
Push
off.
them away.
Like, dude, I'll call you when I'm ready, right? Like when you're just asking that question of, are you ready to sell? It's a very like money grabbing question.
Yep.
From an agent standpoint, right? Like
it's almost desperate.
Yeah. Where if you're just again inbounding, if you're just providing them content, where maybe instead it was like you're kind of contacting them saying, hey, in the last 90 days, the average home price in your market has gone up by 2.5%. Just you're providing, again, content for them without saying, let me sell your house for you. Totally different approach to it.
Exactly.
That's brilliant, dude.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It makes total sense how you got to the top 1%. And now you want me to go, you want to go become an agent. Because I'm thinking, oh shit, I could do that.
Come on, man, we're hiring. I need more people.
No problem, dude. I can go do lead gen if that's what it is. But it's cool because you put a strictly like business approach to agency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a straight business approach to it, which is so freaking smart. Last question I ask you about the agency is like, where do you see yourself going with it?
So I would love to become. I want to dominate Atlanta, Georgia. Start off there. I want to dominate that market.
This is a big market.
Huge market.
Massive market, right?
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I want to dominate that, and then I'd love to just start taking this type of concept and expand it even more. So I'd love to take over that Southeast
regional
type
of site.
And then if we just keep going, man, that's it.
And right now, your company name, Morgan Reed Realty.
Yep.
And your website is what?
MorganReedRealty.com.
So the MorganReedRealty.com.
Yep.
So if someone's watching, they want to know more about you personally. Let's just say you.
That's the other thing is that's the real estate business that I want to get into.
Yeah.
I've also figured out there's a lot of agents out there that need this. They need this type of insight.
They're maybe not even in Atlanta, you're saying?
Yeah,
maybe
not even in Atlanta.
Texas
so
right now.
Yeah, I got some big goals and stuff I want to accomplish over the next 12 months of starting, not necessarily a training program, but I guess it would be a training program, right? To give them these steps, what's worked for me, to not only see agents be successful in Metro Atlanta in my brokerage, but also across the nation, wherever they may be. Well, I'd love to start that too. That's a bigger vision, but this is happening quickly for me.
Right.
So there's a lot of growth opportunity that's going to come in the next 5 years. So yeah, I'd encourage people to follow me to kind of see.
If they want to follow you, where do they follow you at?
Instagram, we're Morgan Reed Realty, at Morgan Reed Realty. Facebook, Morgan Reed Realty. Personally,
do you personally post there, or is that more strictly business post?
That's strictly business. So personally, Morgan Reed, what is my tag? Morgan Reed 1010, I think.
1010,
1010.
like 1010?
Yep.
Is your
Morgan _ Reed 1010.
I'll put it on the notes for us on the
Cool.
show. So give it to one more time, and then we'll verify it and put it in the notes for you.
We need to verify it.
Yeah,
so
we'll
I think
verify
it's Morgan _ Reed 1010.
All right, so we'll verify it and then we'll put it in the notes. So if you're watching right now and you're like, dude, this guy's crazy, look in the notes, okay?
Yeah.
We'll do it after the show for you.
Could definitely be the case.
Let me hit you up on Money Is, right?
Okay.
So obviously you're successful, which is why we want to interview people. And Money Is, the whole brand was started about what does money mean to you and what does it represent to you as a business, as an individual. I got your sign right here. as money is, and Morgan Reed, and here's the
cool.
Sharpie here. So
That's
you
cool.
will fill out this answer here, sign it right here, and then kick it back over to me, and we'll talk about it.
Got it.
There you go.
I don't know if anybody's used this one yet.
We'll see. We're about to find out.
Sign under.
Yeah, in between, above your name, below the orange line. Got it?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. I don't think anybody's used this one. I'll verify in just a second. But his answer is money is confidence. Money is confidence by Morgan Reed Realty.
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't think anybody's used that word. Give me why the word confidence. What do you mean money is confidence?
Yeah, so when it's confidence for me, when I got started in real estate, there was no money. Wasn't making any money. So once I actually started making money, it gave me confidence in myself that the self-improvement stuff that I was doing on a daily basis was producing results. So once I got the actual money from it, it just instilled a lot more confidence in me to achieve more, do more, dream bigger. So money, no matter what level you're making it, I think it can just continue to instill confidence in yourself to be more, do better.
Yeah, it's 100% true, whether or not people want to admit to it or not sometimes. Years and years ago when I got started, 20 years ago in the business, and I had no money, and I had to go find money to do houses and so forth. I'll never forget, an investor told me, a guy that had a bunch of money, told me, and I went to him first to try to get some money, and he denied me. And he came back and said, "Look, I'm gonna tell you basically where you're struggling at." And he's like, people that have money, and when you try to come to them and get money for your business project, whatever, and you are not confident, they're like, we can smell the fear from you, like the lack of confidence and the fear, and like even what you're saying was like even if it's a good deal and or a good project or a good business, we tend to say no because we can sense your fear. And really, as an investor, now that I invest in business and so forth, you're really investing in the person, right? There's an idea behind it, but you're really investing in the person, right? I was talking to Ken O'Leary about this when I interviewed him a while back, and we actually I just remember this point got brought up where he said he makes his decision on whether or not he's an investor or not in the first, I think he said 90 seconds of them coming out. And I remember I asked him, I said, you mean like the first 90 seconds when they're talking? He said, no. The first 90 seconds of them walking out,
How they're carrying themselves.
he said, because what you don't really see on the TV show is like, there's a little setup thing right there where they come out, they got to get everything kind of ready, and there's all that different stuff. And he's like, I watched that piece, and he's like, I pretty much know right then if I'm in or out on the deal. And it was all based off of confidence, basically, or lack of confidence of who they were as a person. I was like, dude, that is freaking crazy.
You can definitely see that from an investor standpoint.
Yeah, and I've never forgot that when that guy told me, it was 20 years ago, he told me about that. And I'm like, and since then, dude, even when I didn't have money, you would have thought I would have sitting on a $2.9 million that I don't need right now.
Why is that? You improved yourself.
Yeah,
You
totally invested it.
in yourself.
Yeah, I do. I love that other point. If I'm going to give you the floor for a second. If you talk to the audience here, maybe about a couple last words of advice to not just real estate agents, but people that are in business right now, starting their business, coming in from a lot of times it's cool because we get to hear from people that are 40, 50, 60 years old. Yeah. And this is a different viewpoint. You're 25 years old and you've reached some great success already in business. So I want to hear from a 25-year-old that's in business right now, that's still growing. What's some advice you would give those that are starting off right now?
So one of the things that I would say has kind of helped me get that right mindset is I figured out from early on that you have to invest in yourself before anything else can work. So a lot of times, obviously other agents and whatnot, they'll get the first couple of checks, they'll spend it on a new car or just dumb shit, right? Mm-hmm. So what I did is I took that money, invested it in myself, invested it in my business, and once I got that confidence in myself, that's when I knew that I could take off to do something pretty special. So my advice would be invest in yourself, spend the money on yourself, go to coaching, get around people that are doing it at a much higher level than you are, and that's going to rub off on you. So.
It's almost cliche advice to a certain degree.
It is.
But it's the most accurate advice that freaking exists. It's almost like everybody in entrepreneurship is looking for this like secret special sauce that if I just had this, like, no, dude, there's only one secret sauce, and it is you. You are the brand. You are the driver. You are it. And the issue that most people run into is they just won't invest in themselves. Yep. They're always looking at that it's something else that's what they're missing. It's like, dude, what you're missing is yourself. Yeah. And you will not pour money into yourself. And it is tricky because it's like, even when you start talking to people that are in business and you ask them the question like, when is the last time you actually invested just in you? Like just you, right? And majority of the time, it's never. It's like, or they'll come up with some stupid example of what they thought was investing in themselves. And there's a direct correlation in all the interviews that I've ever done of those that are successful that invest in themselves and those that are not really successful and they don't invest in themselves. It's amazing to watch those difference right there. Yeah. Great advice, man. Guys, appreciate you watching. This is the Money-ish Show with Morgan Reed at morganreedrealty.com. Top 1% agent in America under 25. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week on the Money-ish Show.